Okay, so I've been working on this game mode for Marvel Snap. If you've never heard of Marvel Snap, it's this collectible card game you can play on mobile and PC and stuff. This is a game mode that's meant for more experienced players of the game, so if you've never heard of it, this video is probably not going to be too valuable. I mean, it's a cool game. I'd recommend trying it out, especially if you like card games. But this mode I'm making here is specifically for people who have played for like months already. Just want to get that out of the way first. So to give a brief summary, this is a fan-made PvP Marvel Snap campaign mode, meant to be more long-form than even Conquest mode, designed to create more of a through line between individual battles and test the player's ability to utilize a limited pool of cards to adapt to their situation. And it also incorporates some additional complexity on top of the base game. So here's my pitch. 2 players, Shield versus Hydra. Each side starts with 35 cards and 10 locations. No cards or locations are duplicated. The game is divided into a series of in-game months. Before you can build your deck each month, you have to station your agents among your locations. Different locations have different effects that determine whether you can or even want to station agents there. Meanwhile, unknown to you, your opponent will be doing the same with their cards and their locations. Both players start out completely unaware of who the opponent has. All they know for sure is that their opponent doesn't have anyone they have. The way this works is by having a third player who acts as the moderator between the two sides. This player has knowledge of all the information, but only tells each player what they need to know. They also keep track of the state of the macro game to make sure things are operating properly. This moderator also has a randomization function that allows them to generate random cards and locations from the pool as needed, such as this case where Los Diablos base destroys a random location. Each fully stationed location provides a faction 1 influence. The moderator tallies up how much influence each faction has and sends it back to them, along with the list of all the cards that have been stationed. This lets them see what cards they can add to their deck that month, as well as how much influence they have to spend that usually affects the macro game. After the agents are stationed, a random card is chosen, and that card's character ploy activates. Every card has its own unique character ploy that can do a number of different things, such as this case where Yondu eliminates Squirrel Girl. So after that, the moderator rolls to see how many cubes the upcoming battle is worth, a random number from 8 to 20. Then the players get to work preparing their deck for the upcoming battle, using their available cards and working around any limitations that they have. In this particular case, Shield had to add Sentinel and Cable to their deck. Hydra also had to add Sentinel, which is one of the rare cases where both sides will end up using the same card. My game uses Battle Mode as the primary engine, since it's the only game mode that currently lets us control both sides. Battle Mode doesn't use cubes per se, since it has the health system, but cubes are still won through my campaign mode using it by employing the system of first come first serve. If 10 cubes are up for grabs, such as in this case, the first 10 cubes won are the only ones that count. This means that in some cases, you can actually end up running out of cubes while the battle is still going on. However, there are 4 game mechanics I introduced during gameplay that give you something to work towards aside from just winning the cubes. If the game ends while you're winning a location by 10 or more, or by winning a location where your opponent has no power, you gain that location to add to your list of owned locations. Even if you lose the match, you still win any locations that you have captured. But you don't win any locations if you retreat. Locations can also be destroyed by Rhino and Storm, and cards can get wounded by getting destroyed or discarded. If a card that has already been wounded is wounded again, it has a chance of being eliminated outright. The moderator rolls a d6, and if the result is less than the total number of wounds on the card is eliminated, permanently removing it from the campaign. No matter how many wounds a card has, you can station it in the medbay in order to remove all of them. However, this comes at a cost of leaving it out of your deck that month. There are a handful of exceptions to this rule, as I didn't want this mechanic to make certain cards unusable. Here's a list of the exceptions I've come up with so far. The final mechanic allows for players to capture enemy cards. Shield and Hydra both begin with 4 captains each, marked by the little star icon next to the card. In order to capture a card, you have to win a location with that card and then announce that you're going to capture it after the battle is over. Similar to capturing locations, you cannot perform a capture if you retreat, but you can perform a capture even if you lose the round, so long as you win that location with that card. When it comes to the specifics of winning a location, it's based on whether you are adding power to the location using that card. For instance, if you play White Tiger, and White Tiger is your captain, you can capture any lane you're winning with White Tiger or the Tiger Spirit it produces, since the power from the Tiger Spirit is coming from White Tiger. Similarly, Mr. Fantastic puts power in 3 lanes if you play him in the center location. If that's the case, a Captain Mr. Fantastic could capture any one card in any location you're winning. However, capturing is not a free action. In order to perform a capture, you are required to concede the remainder of the battle, forfeiting any cubes that are still available in the cache. This means that capturing is generally best done toward the end of the battle. You don't know who your opponent's captains are, so figuring out who they are is part of the challenge. If one side were able to eliminate or capture all of the enemy captains, then the other faction would be completely unable to perform any captures for the rest of the campaign, putting them at a huge disadvantage. And that's about it. After the battle, you move to the next month, and the gameplay loop continues. The campaign ends once one of the factions reach a preset number of cubes. The more cubes you set at the beginning, the longer the campaign. I am looking to playtest it. If you think you might be interested, you can reach out to me here or here. If you have any questions, you can just post them in the comments below, and I'll get back to you. And I hope you enjoyed the demo.